important videos right now that all of America's under attack from within. And mainly the aftermath of this live, of watching it later, is the most important thing. That you can go live and do it later. I wouldn't have been able to do that on TikTok. I would have said a lot of important shit and made a valid point with the video provided. But 6 minutes hyping it up with the title that more evidence of DEW, FYP, I was about to trend. And I know some people let me alive, they were genuinely curious and they shit on me. Do you ever think this, that, and that? No, you're just fucking a brain dead, anti-flight type mentality. I don't care. You want to know about the fire? You want me to provide the evidence? You want the guy to cook? You want to talk over me? Or do you want the guy to cook? You acted open-minded, you booted somebody that shit on me just to shit on me. And here's my response. Here's what I was trying to play. I got banned to try to do it on my own life. Gives a fuck. I got banned on here before. Just to let you know, this is not misinformation. So any false accusations of misinformation, I don't dabble with the misinformation. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I look at the facts. I'm simply looking at something and making a claim. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. Now, this guy on the title, maybe. So we got different videos. We'll watch a few different. We'll start with this one. And I'll have to do it like this on the phone. Because I got removed. I'm unable to do the restream thing and show it on screen right now. I got the other restream account worked on right now. And I got a Windows tablet coming in where I can do full Windows type shit. So let's go 3726. I don't even remember where it was.
It's reemergence. And in the UK, they're saying, no, this isn't just the bird flu. This is a quad area where there are actually 4 diseases, 4 different viruses. They all have 4 different vaccines. They're all super deadly. They're all highly contagious. They're spreading like wildfire. War with Iran, that thing is baked in. World War III is on the way. President Trump being inaugurated on the 20th. People shifting allegiances and alliances all over the place. They're failing. They're going in debt with the globalists, quite literally. All of this makes for a very unstable economic environment in our workplace, folks, to keep it all straight. What should people be doing? I mean, everything is in chaos right now.
Yeah, when there's fear, there's panic. There's also something called a volatility index. It's when we start to happen.
That force Kiev Cortez Wealth Management are laughing. So we of course saw what happened in Maui. We watched the justification of cars, wildfires. Nothing blue burnt, by the way. We've watched Hurricane Helene, which set this unprecedented track, by the way. This thing went from west directly east. No hurricane in history has ever taken that path before.
And they admitted was weaponized on record.
And then all of a sudden it makes it.
They came out and admitted.
Swoops toward the north, where it makes it all the way through like the Rocky Mountains and into western North Carolina, where people are still without homes. They got a $700 loan. FEMA was blocking people. The government was standing in the way of personal private citizens spending their personal and private money on fuel for helicopters as they were going in there, and they were saving pregnant women. They were saving elderly people. They were blocked under the threat of arrest.
We gotta get this out.
No. The government's got all this. They were kicking people out. They didn't want anybody to see any of it, just like Maui.
One, folks, that part.
All of these so-called natural disasters that are displacing people and threatening their lives.
It's a mountain said you can't provide aid, they have to die. They said it.
These fires just ravaging everything, just smashing through. Hundreds of
We're ignoring Arizona, by the way.
Tens of thousands are being evacuated.
That's up next on the channel.
Hundreds of thousands or even millions of them are being evacuated. They're losing their homes. I mean, it looks like hell on earth in California. And on the mainstream corporate media networks, you see them talking about how there's like this division line. No. The fires aren't any further west than this area. But then you look, and yes, they are. And we have people looking, so why are they denying that? Why are they saying that they're restricted or confined to a certain area when they're not.
Folks,
The footage that's coming out of here, I mean, look at this stuff. This
we're getting
footage
set up.
is
We're
like
probably gonna get canceled.
literally an apocalyptic.
We're trying to use code words. Please don't ban me. It's
People
confirmed.
are losing everything. They're dying. They're losing their children. They're losing their family members. They're losing their pets. We saw videos of people trying to save horses.
Nobody
and
watching this
walking them
dude no
out.
more. Come on.
And by the way, beautiful property.
Why was he removed from fucking...
All of this is beautiful property. And then when you go back to Maui, you have to ask yourself, if these fires and this wind were so strong.
This guy's FE right here. He's one of us. He got removed from even Mike Adams from Natural News
off of their geographical
after that.
location. Talking homes here, right?
It was on
Completely
Outcomes for a
obliterated,
while.
gone, dustified. Nothing left.
Gone.
But strangely, none of the landscaping, none of the brushes, none of the hedges, none of the bushes or trees were disturbed at all. As a matter of fact, the lawns in many cases were still perfectly green, thriving. So yeah, we call that some sort of a laser-directed energy weapon attack. Of course, that's what it is, because your government wants to kill you and then they want to steal your land. Dane Wigginton has been paying close attention to what's happening in California. Am I being like just a weird, cracked-out conspiracy theorist that's throwing hyperbolic things out here to just try to shock people into post-engagement, or do you believe that this is manufactured as well?
What we can say, Stu, is that there's nothing natural about this kind of firestorm behavior, period. And we cannot separate climate engineering from this issue. It's core to this issue. What is setting that, regardless of the source of ignition, I want to decipher that. And
Facture. Am I being like just a weird, cracked-out conspiracy theorist that's throwing hyperbolic things out here to just try
Don't
to
worry,
shock
they're saying to
people
me
into
too.
post-engagement, or do you believe that this is manufactured as well?
Yeah, they think I'm trying to get clicks
what we
too.
can say,
But
Stu, is that there's nothing natural about this kind of firestorm behavior, period. And we cannot separate climate engineering from this issue. It's core to this issue. What is setting that, regardless of the source of ignition, I want to
we have the right.
decipher that.
Fair use.
What is setting the template for these fires to burn with such ferocity? And that
Both.
clearly is climate engineering. Stu, I had a conversation with Governor Newsom in his office years ago, presented data to him on exactly what's happening right now, and I stated this would happen if climate engineering was allowed to continue. I presented to Newsom and his top aide, and of course they've done nothing but pretend this is all just some natural consequence of nature.
And when
It's
you're
not.
talking about climate engineering, let's be
The governor
specific.
ignored
Are
it.
you talking
Newsom.
about climate trails,
Yeah.
chemtrails, spraying our skies, seeding the clouds?
Climate engineering, geoengineering,
Ionizing the atmosphere.
particulate dispersions.
They wanna burn you.
Guys, it's not
You see that over you, they want to burn you and take your land.
At altitude, nozzles visible, dispersing. We took a NOAA flying lab to altitude. GeoengineeringWatch.org took a NOAA flying lab to altitude. That's a National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration lab. Top scientists in it. We sampled what these heavy aircraft were emitting, and one of the primary elements to is aluminum nanoparticles. Aluminum nanoparticles are such an effective incendiary that they're used in demolitions, military demolitions. That incendiary dust is on everything. That's not debatable or disputable, period. So bottom line is, from wind, surface zonal wind flows to the drying out of the landscape, to the coating of that landscape with incendiary dust. And again, the source of ignition, separate subject completely. What is setting the template for these fires to burn with such ferocity? And that is climate engineering, period. We have an engineering wildfire section on the homepage of geoengineeringwatch.org for much more data on this issue. And I'll leave it with this, dude. We found a U.S. military document titled Forest Fires as a Military Weapon. It's posted at geoengineeringwatch.org. Within that document, it describes exactly the type of preparation
Military document.
that we see happening in places like Southern California, Canada 2 years ago, and other regions. That's not a coincidence, and we know climate engineering creates exactly these conditions. So the bottom line is, there's no legitimate discussion about these fires or the deep freezes in Texas, too. I'm sure you're watching that. The flash chemical freeze in Texas right now while Southern California is incinerating.
Yeah.
All of these issues are directly connected to climate engineering, period.
Well,
The
we'll
entire
face the whole
country is
pack.
colder than hell
Or
right
what's
now,
left of the pack.
actually. I know in my other
Purr,
home state of Florida,
purr, we don't
right now on
mind
the West
being
Coast, in Tampa,
cold.
it's 32 degrees, according to Carlos Cortez, who we'll talk to actually momentarily. And then, of course, I have other family and friends, a lot of
And
experiences in
this
Florida.
guy showed
And it's colder than hell there right now. relatively speaking.
I think we're just going to get Stu Peters on the radio.
Why is it cold
An
across the
immediate
whole
move.
country? What is the purpose of these fires? If they are being done intentionally,
We're moving.
why?
I know I had the 7 o'clock hour, but we're moving.
We can speculate on the agendas and objectives, but the fact that these fires are absolutely not natural. I grew up in Southern California, right at the head of the Santa Ana Wind Canyon, the bottom of the Cajon Pass. I grew up there. We had never had anything like this then. Bottom line is we can speculate on agendas and objectives, but the fact that this is climate engineering, including the surface flash freezes, go 1,000 feet up off the deck in Florida, and the temperatures will likely raise about 30 degrees. This is we're hearing that from pilots, by the way. In fact, we just recently heard from 2 military pilots, Stu, that fly private jets with very important people. They contacted Geoengineering Watchdog directly because their aircraft were forced into emergency auto descent from above 40,000 feet.
Hey, seniors, if you're concerned about staying in touch with family and friends during prolonged
Come on, Rumble.
don't let disasters
I ain't
come
hating.
from the world. Not knowing if help.
The feet because the air was so warm,
Fuck.
as you mentioned, including again hydrocarbon deposits
No.
underneath Gaza, DOD involvement at the core. So, testing that material, we're not guessing, Stu.
Who's actually care? 82 degrees, according to Carlos Cortez, who we'll talk to actually momentarily. And then, of course,
Again, we can speculate on the agendas and objectives, but the fact that these fires are absolutely not natural. I grew up in Southern California, right at the head of the Santa Ana Wind Canyon, the bottom of the Cajon Pass. I grew up there. We had never had anything like this then. Bottom line is we can speculate on agendas and objectives, but the fact that this is climate engineering, including the surface flash freezes, go 1,000 feet
We got
up
2
off the
Santas
deck
now,
before
let's
the
get another Santa
temperatures
in.
raise
You know what I'm
about
talking
30
about.
degrees.
Santa
This is
Goonies, Santa Claus Goonies, that's what I'm gonna call them.
in fact, we
That's
just
what they are.
recently heard
That's the
from 2
other name.
military pilots, Stu, that fly private jets with very important people. They contacted Geoengineering Watchdog directly because their aircraft was
Wasted my
forced
life,
into
they think.
emergency auto
Well, let's get
descent
this viral,
from
come on.
above 40,000 feet because the air was so warm, 45 degrees plus warmer than it should be, that the air was not dense enough to carry those aircraft. This is a chemical surface flash freeze.
Hold on,
Chemical
time out.
isolation for weather
Time out.
because
I gotta do that because we learned about
jets with
planes.
very important people. They contacted Geoengineering Watchdog directly because their aircraft were forced into emergency auto descent from above 40,000 feet because the air was so warm, 45 degrees plus warmer than it should be, that the air was not dense enough to carry those aircraft. This is a chemical surface flash freeze. Chemical ice nucleation for weather modification. And in creating that surface flash freeze, they create a lot of headlines that they want to utilize for different purposes. But the bottom line is, this is a chemically nucleated material that flash freezes the surface, and we're testing that material. We're not guessing, Stu.
who's actually carrying out this activity? Doing the
Let's
actual
go, let's
cloud
go.
seeding or spraying of the skies?
Well, all roads lead back in the U.S. to the DOD. Of course, nothing like this
Air
would
Force.
happen without DOD involvement at the
Air
core.
Force.
So,
I mean, that's just telling them, but
we're not
Air
going to
Force.
hear about this. We're not going to have legions of whistleblowers. What happens to
Other private
whistleblowers when they
inter-
get locked up? Ask John Carrico, who blew the whistle on the illegal torture program, U.S. official. He was the only one to go to jail. We have an illegal federal gag order, Stu, on all National Weather Service and NOAA employees for all agency operations. I had a NOAA employee state to my face at a Marine lab on the U.S. West Coast, quote, "We all know this is going on. We have no First Amendment protection. We don't know what to do." So the bottom line is the public is asleep at the wheel while climate engineering, a.k.a. weather warfare, in this case winter weather warfare in the other parts of the country you just described, this is going on above our heads and the population is pretending it isn't happening. That needs to change because the ramifications of what's going on, and it's not just weather warfare, Stu. These elements they're using are toxic. Aluminum, barium, strontium, manganese, polymer fibers, surfactants,
Chromium.
graphene, all toxic by themselves, more toxic when combined. And Stu, when we have polymer fibers and graphene in the mix, those are biological carrier platforms militarily. They're used to carry a pathogen from the clouds to the ground. What's that doing in our rain, and what other type of experiments are they conducting on us?
Bird, you know,
Well, none
man.
of it is good. I mean, obviously, there's a reason why everybody is sick constantly.
Yes.
The skies don't look the same at all. You can tell the difference between real clouds and fake clouds. There's constantly a haze over the West Coast. This has been going on for quite some time now. Geoengineeringwatch.org. What are people going to find there regarding these wildfires? Oh, wildfires, and heavy air quotes for our radio listening audience, of course.
Search the engineering wildfire section. Search the engineering winter section and about all the fog, Stu. I'm sure you've heard about that everywhere. That's a direct result of chemical ice nucleating elements and the conditions they create when they're flash freezing area that's been warm, and you create this chemical flash cold in the surface. It generates a lot of fog. And again, we know there's toxic elements in that fog, and there's likely many other elements we have not yet been able to identify. So the bottom line is, this is all out weather and biological warfare. Consequences of which will be beyond what most dare to imagine. We need to deal with this, or all other causes or concerns will soon become moot. Everybody's needed to bring this issue to light, share credible data from a credible source. Geoengineering.org strives to be that credible source. Our only mission: stop what's happening in our skies.
So you mentioned on here, of course, the military-industrial complex. I'm just reading what's written here. Is the military-industrial complex insane enough to incinerate Earth's last remaining forests in order to achieve the objectives of the global controllers? The short answer is yes. So you're speculating about objectives there. We're looking at land grabs happening not just here in our country, but of course in the Middle East as well. Is that what this is about? Is this a big land grab of valuable property?
I would say the agendas go much deeper than that, because the ramifications of the current course that we are on are total. If we remain on this course, no one gets out alive, including the controllers. They can crawl into their bunkers temporarily, but they are destroying the planet's last remaining life support system. So in the case of the incineration of large swaths of forest, for example, in Canada, where we lost something like 71,000 square miles, not acres, 71,000 square miles, larger than the states of Florida or Georgia. In that case, that incineration appears to be a correlation with science study we found to do that advocated for the intentional burning of northern latitude forests, put enough particulate matter in the air to mimic the temporary cooling effects of a volcano. That's a peer-reviewed science study. It's in our engineering wildfire section. So again, from that to the line of land grab or scouring land clean of Indian inhabitants, there are likely so many agendas being carried out. So we try not to speculate too deep beyond that, but all of those agendas are nefarious, period. Climate engineering is all out warfare on populations. Without those populations to ever even knowing they're under assault, they can blame it on nature. The controllers can, and that's exactly what they do.
Well, they sure did need the lithium deposits
Yes.
in western North Carolina.
Yes.
And in Maui, of course, we're watching the elites make really nice bids on beautiful property in Lahaina. And then, of course, in the Middle East, we see auctions actually happening, Palestinian land, beachfront, waterfront, beautiful property that's happening there. Taxpayers are funding all of this. We're funding our own demise.
Let's not forget the oil that's underneath, off the coast of Gaza, that was in their jurisdiction also. Large acknowledged oil deposits that are also being looted, plundered, and pillaged now that they've cleared out the native inhabitants, just like they did in the U.S. with the Native Americans. It's the same scenario. Those that can't see that what's happening in the Middle East is absolute genocide for all the purposes you mentioned, including, again, hydrocarbon deposits underneath Gaza or Palestinian territory right on their coast. That's likely another factor in this equation, along with everything you mentioned. So, yeah, it's not hard to see this if people open their eyes.
It all just seems to just line up so perfectly where the people like you and I and the rest of our fellow Americans and really citizens of the West, we end up either burned or displaced or targeted for rape if you're a child or a woman, or dead or enslaved in some sort of a virtual or digital or financial prison camp. But yet when all of these things, this perfect storm comes together, the elite, the billionaires, they seem to just do just fine. They seem to really reap the benefits of all of these things. To me, that just doesn't seem very coincidental.
Steve, if everybody spoke out like you're speaking out, then we would be in a different situation. But unfortunately, the controllers, those who print the money, those who do things like genocide in the Middle East and everything else that we see happening around us, we just described, they couldn't do what they do without the active or passive support of the majority population, and that needs to change. So I salute your gloves off approach to all of these issues, your courage, and we're with you 100% at GeoEngineering.org, and we will continue to do our part.
It'd be a really interesting question to ask every single one of these so-called congressmen, these so-called elected representatives. A simple question, really. Do you stand with the American people and support them and care about them more? Or do you care about Israel more? I think we're going to do that.
You're not a child, you're a man. So stop wearing so many layers to go outside. And get the Bearskin Tactical Hoodie 4.0. The 10 bucks.
TV dog. What it do, mommy? I'm a daddy dog. I'm just a man when he said he drops it. Let's see. This one could have been even before that, but I don't know. Let's see what this one is.
Buy one, get two free and soon. There's still time. Act now to secure your family's future. Get 3 kids for the price of one.
For the rest of my days, I'm always going to wonder what would have happened if I didn't have burn up by my side.
I really don't know what I would have done if I didn't have the burn up. But my first option would always be to use non-lethal. When we fired the first round and saw what it could do and the punch that it...
A lot of conversation going on around X, all over social media, conversations happening on different broadcasts, podcasts, television, inside the halls of Congress. And then, of course, the film has been seen 6 million times. Sometimes 6 million sounds realistic and you can go verify it. Other times that number just seems to be, I don't know, mathematically impossible or something. But, you know, the film Occupied has been seen 6 million. And then go down the rabbit hole. Do your project.
TV star.
The body's just trying to detox, and we want
Just was connected. Stop this fucking bullshit.
poisonous, toxic
They're trying to block
in
me.
your body. It will then have a reaction that gives you all kinds of symptoms.
I don't trust a word he's saying.
Exactly what it is. It would be hard to believe that it wasn't with intent.
I support that you're saying it's with intent. I skipped and through and heard that, but sorry, brother. Your clear, awkward left eye looking away when you said I really am swearing on the Bible here. Every time you said it. In that video, your awkward videos are always the same, brother. So I don't trust anything you're saying. You're just trying to get clout and be controlled opposition. It sounds like you're on our side. So anyway, sorry. I thought we had something else. If you don't know what's going on, the fog was released to ionize the atmosphere, folks. Go watch the videos, folks. They're trying to burn us alive. And they're telling us we can't go save other people. They gotta just die. Like, this is what they did in Maui. This is what they did in other places. They wouldn't let aid go into North Carolina. Who's next? I'm gonna put TV stop. Alright, we gotta ask yourself, who's next? What's going on here? It seems that the United States government has gone into full exterminato mode because they've been caught and all the criminal stuff they've done or whatever. I don't know what the reason is, but you know what I mean. But basically, we want to be free. We've learned too much. And now they're just going to go take all our land and say, well, eminent domain and a bunch of weapons. We try to hold them accountable. Remember, you don't own nothing, folks. It's not, we will own nothing and be happy. We've already there since 1933. You know, kind of did away with all ODO ownership. Go look it up, folks. It's very hard to find the books on that year alone, 1933 specifically. They removed them. When you go to try to buy these books in groups, that, you know what I mean, encyclopedias, law books, or any book describing how the finances went that year and things like that, they skip that year a lot of times. So anyway, I headed back to TikTok, but I just think enjoy things, stupid secular fucking bullshit while we have it. Enjoy the goddamn Uno bars and shit while they're there. The weed, the dabs, the whatever the fuck. Because you know, we're about to not have it. We're about to have a rude awakening. Everybody's going to panic like North Carolina. Oh, I got to go pay my electric bill, but my job's under the mud. The electric company's under the mud. There's no electric to begin with in most of these places still today. We're fighting for you. which is in turn me, because I'm next. And I know I'm next. Part of the plan, folks, don't they? Bring the population down. Destroy our way of life. What we build, they destroy, Lord. What we build, they destroy. And dear Lord, please, give us all the strength to fight these people. You know what I'm saying? As we prepare for battle, as we're already in a battle online, digitally, spiritually, physically, or verbally. They're trying to verbally in court and paper do it their way, and it's not working. So they're trying to disconnect me again before I get my finish. Come on, before I get my finish in. For those of you that wish to exist, I suggest you click that follow button, especially on TikTok. I have my evidence and sources. Again, government documents confirming that these weapons exist. They don't deny. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And they've been confirmed at fire chiefs and others confirmed in the last fires. This was weaponized. The government admitted the Hurricane Helene, or whichever, that big one in Florida and North Carolina, that it was weaponized. They purposely let the dam out at the same time around North Carolina. They made the weather ripe for tornadoes. They had all this other hurricane weather, and then they had all the radars pulling the hurricane. So everything gets pulled right into land so easily, and doesn't in other places. We got all these radars working together from different directions, pulling things inwards. So what you have there is the radars working. You have the cloud seeding, the big planes, the ones they show on the Weather Channel. They go in the middle of these hurricanes because they're making these hurricanes to get data, the same data every time. Bullshit. They go in there because they purposely got to, from the inside, help direct this from the eye of the storm, the most common part of the storm. So they stay in the eye and direct it, help guide this thing from the inside with the weather radar from the outside, and then they cloud seed over North Carolina, Florida, and make tornadoes, and then confirmed in Florida that they were killing people at the Red Cross and at these places where they didn't have homes where to go. So yeah, they are trying to exterminate you and take your land because you don't own it. I paid it off. I got this paper here on a certificate on top. Well, I got $1 million that nobody out here, I can't say that, but very small few of you own your land on paper by their rules or by the rules. Most of you don't. The government has primary ownership, and you're a co-guardian or a custodian, guarding the property without permission. That's why these construction companies that constantly have to widen these roads are in bed with the government, using that against you, taking your land inch by inch every decade. Come on, brother, feet by feet. Oh, we got to put more lanes. We're in the middle of nowhere back here. Instead of a 2-lane windy road that everyone enjoys, we need 5 lanes. And we need to take all of y'all's fucking property to widen. And we're going to constantly widen the road, destroy the woods, and make more roads. We have enough roads. We need to fix the goddamn roads that we have as they are. Enough widening the roads just to keep these motherfuckers in business. We're losing landmarks and property because of it. The fucking dams and all this fucking bullshit you guys put up in the water that ain't even, to make reservoirs, that ain't even transporting nothing. You're not even moving nothing down there to need a dam in the first place, but they make all these fucking lakes for entertainment, and they have to have fish farms. Everything about this life is fake, brother. They gotta have fish farms. You ever looked why your local river has fish farm down the road? They have to repopulate the trout fish every year, or what the fuck ever, every year, because they can't swim upstream, have their offspring, and they can't do their normal way of life because it's blocked off by all this fucking man-made fucking obstruction. So imagine all the man-made obstruction that we use to block the rivers, the chakras of the earth. Everything has to flow. And then the same people learned how to block the bloodstream and the chakras of the body and all the energy points. The same way, you got blood clots, you got fucking kidney stones and liver stones and flukes and fucking every fucking thing you can think of to block a part of the body. You have to get something to pass through, do this, that, and the third. They block the memories. They're not removed during dementia with the metals and the worms that feed on the metals. So, I mean, think about it, folks. Let's destroy this fucking fake-ass life. We'll build a real one. Let's get the rivers back. How they were when God made them. 50s, they made all these reservoirs. And the Marines just came in and said, this is what we doing, cuz. Imagine how healthy your life would be if the water was flowing constantly, as it should, and not regulated when it should flow. They're trying to kill us. No one cares. Definitely a simulation, if you ask me. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a damn whatsoever. And that just blows my goddamn mind. I'm just tempted to face the rest of these Santa Claus gummies and call it a day. And just go flat smack some people while tripping. But damn, brother. I got removed. I was ready to go live again. They're going stricter on TikTok right before this ban on the censoring. Austin Litzit. Fucking. I don't know. Come on, Stu Peters. Fuck. Not co-signing that guy. Your body language, bro. Everything about it. You vaped, my nigga. Do I need to show you what fake breath looks like without glycerin and glycol? Like an actual thick plant-based vape. No glycerin to make clouds. Yeah, Google how vegetable glycerin works and why it's used in vapes for the cloud effect. It's literally to lighten and to make things vaporize, and the glycols to bind with it to make the substance go into the vape, the nicotine. But literally, they use glycerin because it's non-toxic. It's used in all sorts of different things medically, but you can breathe it in, make clouds out of it, and it, you know what I mean? That's the effect. That's where the clouds from these vapes and the zero nic and people doing tricks. I'll rip 5 seconds and blow a fat cloud, which will take me fucking a minute or a whole blinker to get a cloud like that on something like this. On an herbal pin. Alright. Anyway. Yeah, if y'all don't understand what's going on, y'all need to tune in right now. We're flashbacking, folks. I'm getting shit on for it. We're also speaking the truth about this, and I'm getting banned for it. So, the most banned artist, the most banned on here. Don't give a fuck. They're trying to kill us. Definitely can't say that on TikTok. I get muted and removed by the algorithm, but hey. About to come back. You know what it is. We're going viral for triggering globies. Go follow.